Hello and welcome back to the channel. Last day in Alsace before crossing the border with Germany and start our visit to the Black Forest. We ended our trip in Alsace in Strasbourg, the largest city in the region, with a little over 1 million inhabitants, and in which it is worth a visit to its historic center. For those who travel by car, without a doubt the best parking option is the P+R parking, where for less than €5 you can park during the whole day, having included in the price of the ride trip ticket up to 7 people, and which takes you to the same center of Strasbourg. We parked in the Rotonde parking and from here to the Rotonde station, where you can start the visit without problems, since it is located in the historic center. The historic center is completely surrounded by water, on the one hand the river Ill and on the other the Canal du Faux Rempart, being the east part of the city La Petite France, the most known and visited. From the tram we are 2 steps walk from the Petite France, an ancient neighborhood of curlers, millers and fishermen and which constitutes a remnant of peace in the heart of the city. Its streets offer a succession of houses from the 16th and 17th centuries with wooden trunking, wide inner courtyards and large open sloping roofs, in which skins were once dried. We begin our visit at the Benjamin Zix Square, on the banks of the Ill River, walking through the streets that surround it, until we reach the Pont du Faisan, through which we cross the Ill River and access the different quais or moles built on it. From any of these moles you can access the famous Ponts Couverts, the covered bridges of Strasbourg that have retained their name despite the disappearance of the wall in the 18th century, being dominated by 3 towers from the 13th century, remains of the ancient walls. Just in front of the covered bridges we have the Vauban Dam, or large shelter, built in the year 1690 approximately, and that allowed to flood the south of the city in case of need. The entire top of the dam is a panoramic terrace that can be visited for free, and that offers us a magnificent panorama of the Petite France. You can also visit the interior of the dam, where we can observe the mechanisms of opening and closing of the boilers. We return back to the historic center by crossing the river Ill, by one of the many bridges, such as the Pont Saint-Martin, where I can observe one of many slopes that allow navigation through the rivers. Very close we find the Protestant Church of St. Thomas, a beautiful example of Alsatian Gothic art and that can be visited for free outside of worship hours. Inside we find the sarcophagus Adelot, ancient bishop of Strasbourg, between 817 and 822 and who had previously been a tutor of Louis I, son of Charlemagne. The funeral monument that attracts more attention is the Mausoleum of Mareschal Maurice de Saxe, a work of Baroque style where the remains of this General Saxon are buried, considered the best French general at the time of Louis XIV and later of the French Revolution. We left the church and by the street of the Closeters, surrounded by shops with typical products of Alsace. We arrived in very little time to the Gutenberg Square, where next to a beautiful carousel, we have the statue dedicated to Johannes Gutenberg, the inventor of the modern printing press. From Gutenberg Square, along Messias Street, we arrive in a short time at the Cathedral of Strasbourg, an incredible masterpiece of Gothic art, and whose needle reaches a height of 142 meters, allowing us to observe from the upper platform the entire Alsatian plain. It was built between the 11th and 12th centuries, on the remains of an ancient cathedral destroyed in the year 1002, and where you can observe works of art such as the Pilier des Anges, which represents the Final Judgment, or the Pulpito, the Great Organ, or the glass windows of the 13th and 14th century, some of them original. But undoubtedly the most famous is the Astronomical clock, a Renaissance masterpiece of watchmaking and mathematics that dates back to 1574, and continues to surprise by its finesse and the technical prowess it implies. One of its particularities is the perpetual calendar that indicates the displacement of the planets in an astrolabe. But what most attracts the attention of visitors is its game of automates that every day at 12:30 is put in motion, appearing the four ages of life, personified in a child, an adolescent, an adult, and an old passing before death. The price for visiting this masterpiece of engineering is €4 for a single daily visit between 11:30 and 12 p.m. The cathedral is located on the Place du Château, where apart from the same cathedral, we can see the magnificent Camisole House. Built in 1427, and being one of the most ornate and best preserved medieval civil buildings of late Gothic architecture. Also in the square we find the Rohan Palace, built in 3732 and 1742, and which currently houses the Archaeological Museum, the Museum of Decorative Arts and the Museum of Fine Arts. And next to the Cathedral of Strasbourg, we ended our visit to Alsace, and now if we already crossed the border and headed to Germany, to the Black Forest. Specifically, we headed to Oberkirch, just 30 kilometers from Strasbourg, where we will stay for our visit to the Black Forest. For this we will use Airbnb as always and stay in the magnificent house that Christa offers us very close to Oberkirch, in an idyllic environment surrounded by vineyards. This time we will stay in a typical house of the Black Forest and we will have for us all the top part. As always, I leave you a comment and a link for this wonderful accommodation. From there we will begin our visit to the impressive Black Forest.